until we've heard from the local trail people.
Okay. Fred Dorr?
I will also yield to the Trail Council members that are here, but I would like to speak after they have spoken.
Okay. Nancy Kuparas?
Good evening. I'm Nancy Krupiars, Executive Director of Michigan Trails and Greenways Alliance. We're a statewide nonprofit that advocates for multi-use trails for biking and walking and provides technical assistance, which we did at the very beginning of this project. And so now I would just like to tell you that there are many ways to raise dollars for the pre-development work, you know, for your local match for development, for your maintenance. We have, one of the primary things you can do is you know, I know John has been organizing a friends group. That would be highly important for fundraising through events, through donations, and there are many trail groups throughout the state that find that once the volunteers get involved, you know, a lot of the volunteers know and are connected to business people in town. They frequent, trail users will be frequenting businesses. And so, you know, once the volunteers get involved, it illuminates the whole trail and brings general awareness to it. And then the businesses start getting involved because they see the opportunities for people frequenting their businesses. This has been happening at Traverse City and the Tart Trails Network for years, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. Another thing is to front load when you're fundraising. Nowadays, it used to be people would develop the trail, they'd acquire it, then they'd develop it, and then, oh yeah, we gotta maintain it. Nowadays, the smart thing to do is to package it all to come up with your pre-development dollars, your local match, and your maintenance all in one. Do one big fundraising campaign. You don't have to develop the trail right off the bat. You have your own timeline that you can fundraise as you go. Take your time when you are ready. The other thing, this is part of the Great Lake to Lake Trail, as John mentioned, 250-mile trail. We have been leading this project since 2007, and we have many people across the state that are so excited about this Great Lake to Lake Trail. So you know that they are going to be giving money towards this trail. We would be happy to publicize the need for it. We'd be happy to get it out there. There are many people outside of Walled Lake that would be willing to donate just to get this trail done and to get it maintained. Another thing is patronicity is a grant that you can apply for. That is sort of a crowdfunding campaign that Michigan Economic Development Corporation matches it 50%. So it's something that the Friends Group could help to put together to get this going. And you know, the volunteer crew to get some of the light tasks done, brush and debris, trash pickup, things like that. Monitoring the trail for needed repairs so that things are taken care of before they get too bad. You know, the national rate for a volunteer's time is $23.56. So it is a very valuable resource for you to take advantage of. And they can also be organized to staff tables at events if you have festivals and other things going on in the community. You can have some of the volunteers there that will be able to talk to the people, raise dollars right there at the booth. This is such an important project, and you know, it's there, as you can see, you have a lot of support for it, and we are here to help and give you ideas for raising the dollars. So I would hope that you wouldn't waste this really rare opportunity. Not every community has a rail trail to be able to use that is safe, away from traffic, that has nature along it. You have a rare opportunity to turn this into a really valuable asset for your community. So I hope that you do that. Thank you very much.
Next up is Mike. Looks like he lives on Glenview Court. I cannot tell your last name. They're kind of all runs together.
Last name is Gus Gray. I am a Commerce Township resident. I'm here for two reasons. Primarily, I use the trail probably 2-3 times a week, all year long. It is a wonderful piece of land. It's a beautiful ride, and I suggest anybody who hasn't been on it, get on it and ride it. My second reason I'm here is I am manager of the American Cycle and Fitness at 14 Mile and Haggerty. So the benefits of this trail to me and my boss are obvious, but there's a bigger picture than that. Rail trails are becoming more and more popular. They're actually destinations. When I go on vacations, I seek them out. I fill up my minivan with my 5 or 6 bikes with my family, and we go on cycling vacations. And when I go on cycling vacations, I spend lots of money in those cities that I go to. Somebody mentioned the Tart Trail. There's a Betsy Valley's another one up north that I do a lot. I know a couple of folks who've done a couple in Pennsylvania, and we stop and spend money. They can only benefit the local community, especially, say we put a sign up and directed people towards the bike shop, it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing either. But the other thing I want to say is, as a manager of that facility, I have a big customer base for all the local communities, Walled Lake, Wixom, Commerce, you name it. We get a lot of inquiries about the status of the trail because people are itching to get out there and ride on it. Okay, and right now, the way the trail is in its current state, if you have a fat bike, you're absolutely going to love it. If you ride a hybrid bike, you might not love it so much. But a little bit of maintenance, a little bit of forward thinking, a little bit of thought about the future, you guys be surprised how many people would use that trail. So when I'm out and about in the trail, I have a purple fat bike. I'll probably get out there today or tomorrow, wave at me, I'll wave back. Cyclists are friendly. And probably the last thing, which I want to just distill this myth because somebody brought it up early, rail trails do not bring crime into a community. Rail trails will eliminate crime in the community. The undesirables will not be on the trail if it's full of people enjoying it. That's not it's not clandestine enough for them to go intermix with all of us who are using the trail for the right reasons. So just to dispel that, there's lots of studies. I don't have anything to quote, but if you want me to, I'd be more than happy to dig all that stuff up for you. That being said, thank you for your time.
Kevin Hinckley.
Mayor Kevin Hinckley with the City of Wixom. My address is 3250 Johanna Wareham, Wixom, Michigan. As part of this trail, a lot of what you folks have said here tonight, I can guarantee you I'm going to have a copy of these minutes, and we will be implementing many of some of the suggestions that you've made here to help offset the cost to our communities, our community. Let me also state that one of the things that we all committed to, and some of the council members that are here tonight weren't here 4 years ago, and we committed that as this trailway developed, that it would be no cost to the taxpayers, that we would find grants, that we would find monies from businesses to create to help offset the cost for many of these expenses. So with that, Mayor Ackley and Council, I'll only take 5 more minutes. You know how we mayors love to talk, right? Mayor Ackley, member of councils, ladies and gentlemen, I'm speaking here tonight on behalf of the City of Wixom and the greater community of which the Michigan Airline Trailway serves. We believe that the departure from the Airline Trailway Council by the City of Walled Lake, as is being discussed, will have a huge negative impact on this region. Let us not forget the economic growth that is the result of properly planned and maintained trailways. There are countless studies, too numerous to paraphrase here tonight, but I'll mention a few highlights from these studies. Trails build strong, economically vital communities. Trails, according to a National Association of Home Builders study cited by the New York Times, are the #1 amenity potential homeowners cite when they are looking at moving into a community. Trails provide communities with a valuable amenity that translate into increased housing values. In Indianapolis alone, for example, the increased property value of trails was more than $140 million. Trails revitalize neighborhoods. In Minneapolis, the Midtown Greenway has spurred development of new housing and businesses to take advantage of the desirable location adjacent to the trail. We're seeing the same thing happening in our own VCA in Wixom with our tribute, heritage, and legacy housing developments. Trails build local businesses. Bicycle tourists, as the gentleman just said here, okay? A growing affluent segment of the tourist market. Bicycling, tourists, as the gentleman said. They contribute significantly to local businesses that are well connected to the trails. Along the Virginia Creeper Trail in Southwest Virginia, visitors spend $1.6 million annually, providing an estimated 27 new full-time jobs. One of Wixom's local businesses, Drafting Table Brewing Company, is located on the eastern side of the Huron Valley Trailway. They have participated in several organized rides with neighboring breweries in other communities and have an 18-place bike rack on site. One can see this rack filled with bikes on warm weather weekends and weeknights with families stopping for refreshments. Many of our local restaurants and shops see increased business from bike traffic on the pathway, as well as have bike rack space provided for their patrons. It seems that half the visitors of our downtown to our Dairy Queen in the warm summer months, guess what? They're on bikes. Trailways also help to create vibrant, healthy communities by offering mobility alternatives to driving a car. One study in Lincoln, Nebraska showed that every dollar of investment in trails for physical activity, as the gentleman pointed out earlier, led to $2.9, almost $3 in direct medical benefits to the community. So that meant that people were benefiting from that and reducing medical costs. There are economic development tools known as trail-oriented development, which help communities capitalize on the economic growth opportunities they can bring to cities. They heavily contribute to placemaking and are right in Oakland County Main Street initiatives for community revitalization. And if you don't know anything about Oakland County revitalization and Main Street, check us out in Wixom, because that's the direction we're going, because it does one thing. It's bringing economic development to our downtown community. We all need to think out of the box when it comes to costs associated with trail maintenance once it is constructed. Local DDAs, community foundations, recreational millages, endowments, memorials and memorial benches, etc., are all tools which we have at our disposal to offset the cost in maintenance and repairs. Local businesses can also contribute by sponsoring signage or garbage receptacles, sponsor a mile initiatives and the like. And as I said earlier, I know some of you weren't here a couple, 3 years ago when we put this together. I realize that. It's a tough decision for you. I know in the city of Wixom, when we were at $12 million and our budget was unbalanced, we did a lot of things to get it to $9 million. Well, we're balanced today. A lot of our recreational things that people talked about eliminating, we found ways to fund them. And you as a council must find a way to fund this and work with Commerce and work with Wixom and listen to some of these initiatives before we say we're out. We need to say we're in, and let's figure it out together, okay? We've worked a long, long time with Walled Lake. We're buddies. The fire bell rings, we come answer, you come answer. We're buddies. This is what we do. We help each other. I'd like to ask that the council take a long-term view when considering the proposal to withdraw and not be short-sighted. Please keep in mind your children, your grandchildren, and think about what the community they would like to settle down and raise their families in when they're ready to choose. I thank you for your time tonight, and I hope that you will work with us. Thank you.
Next up is Tim Storm. Tim?
I
Looks
echo
like S-I-R-M-A?
S-I-K-M-A.
That's okay? Okay.
I echo the mayor's comments.
Okay. John Hensler?
Good evening. My name is John Hensler. I'm the trail manager for the Michigan Airline Trail. Started back in May. As most of you probably on the council will remember, I made a presentation to the council back in June, getting kind of an overview of the trail and what we're doing, what our plans were. Tonight I'd like to ask the council to reconsider withdrawing from the Trailway Council for a number of reasons, but as a trail manager, it's my job, one of my jobs is to identify funding and revenue opportunities to offset the development as well as the maintenance costs for the trail. Believe me, nobody from the Trail Council, as from my perspective, is asking anybody to raise taxes or increase the millage or anything like that. A lot of potential revenue sources. One of them that comes to mind right off the bat is the billboards on M5. There's a billboard on M5 right now where the trail crosses M5. There's a bridge that's going to be built there by MDOT next year. That's on trail property. All those leases, all those revenues go to the Trail Council directly. And they're being renegotiated right now, and it's not an insubstantial sum of money. And that money will go to the Trail Council, and the Trail Council will determine how to spend it. Could go for maintenance, could go for trail development, could go for kiosks, could go for a lot of things, but the Trail Council will determine exactly how that money is going to be spent. And if Walled Lake leaves the Trail Council, they will forego their opportunity to participate in sharing in those resources. Another potential source of funding might result from a conversation I had with a private foundation that's interested in contributing towards some of the design and engineering funds for the trail. There are several other design and engineering, several other foundations that we are going to approach for funding as well. The Trail Council we're also reaching out to other rail trail groups in Oakland County and Southeast Michigan to determine what types of surfacing technologies they've used and what types of, and we've discovered there are lots of low-cost options that we had not maybe thought of before. And so we're learning a lot about trail surfacing technologies and trail amenities. I also brought visual aids. This is the Everett, in Everett, Michigan. This is their depot several years ago. It looks kind of like the depot in Walled Lake looks now. And this is what it looks like now. So I'm just saying there's a lot of opportunity there. We would love to be able to make the Walled Lake Depot the headquarters for the trail, have some room there where people can rent it out and use it for community events and things like that. It would be a centerpiece for the trail. There's a big parking lot there that's part of the trail property. We want to make that the place where people, not just in Walled Lake, but people all over come and park there, get on the trail, and then maybe after they're done riding, they go to a local business, and or they go to the Dairy Queen or whatever, and they help the businesses in Walled Lake. Moving forward, I would hope that Walled Lake would allow the Trail Council an opportunity to review the interlocal agreement and explore options that satisfy the city's needs and financial standing. As an example, there might be a way for Walled Lake to remain on the council as a non-voting member and still benefit from grant applications, other revenue sources, insurance coverage, and trail-wide maintenance. According to the terms of the existing interlocal agreement, any community that decides to withdraw from the Trailway Council is still required to contribute its share of the operating budget for fiscal year 2017, which goes through December. So leaving in March is certainly premature. Why not wait and see if we can come up with some other funding sources and some other grant opportunities, and then perhaps it doesn't work, well then maybe you leave the council in November or December. That's basically it. I firmly believe that the optimal success of the trail will happen when all three communities work together to make it the great, fantastic resource that we feel it's going to be. And it's important for current and future residents and businesses in the city. It's important for them to be able to benefit from this recreational resource for all kinds of generations to come. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Next up
Thank you, Mayor Hockley and Council. I'm David Scott. I'm the current Commerce Township Supervisor. I'm a resident of 8610 Buffalo Drive in Commerce Township, Michigan. Father of three. I'm here to tell you, I don't need to talk about Traverse City. I don't need to talk about Ludington or a trail somewhere else. Walled Lake, all of Walled Lake have been really good neighbors. really good neighbors for a long time. I'm a retired 30-year police officer with the Oakland County Sheriff's Office. We have always come to help each other. We have always been there to back each other up, to support each other. I'll be the first to tell you that early on in my campaign, I'll be the first to tell you this trail should have been a county park. It shouldn't have been a city, village, or township park. It should have been a county park. It goes from Lyon to Oxford. Do bad things happen on the trail? They have. The more that the trail is active, the least that will occur. The more eyes, the more lights, the more activity, the problems will dissipate. I will tell you unequivocally, Walled Lake's in for 2017. The budget's fixed, they're in. Leaving in March is premature. As a member of this council, Walled Lake, Wixom, and Commerce Township, everything has to be done in a unanimous setting. You can vote no. You do not need to leave. If something is not right, express it. We'll work through it. As 3 communities, we'll score so much higher in an application for a grant with 3 communities with nearly 6 miles of trail than any one of us could try to apply for independently. The problem we have, obviously, is the portion that we can't devour with a grant, with a trust fund application, is the design and engineering. When we do the design and engineering for this project, it has to be done just like we're building a road. We have to address prevailing wages. We have to look at MDOT standards. All those things have to be considered. There's a substantial amount of money that has already been put forth. It is in a holdback from MDOT. At the completion of the project, money will come back. Each of us contributed. Obviously, Commerce contributed a lot more than the other 2. But you have money that's still vested that can be utilized to cover bills, expenditures. I'm gonna go out on a limb and tell you, Commerce is gonna hold your arm. We're gonna walk you through this. We're gonna help you monetarily and get through this project in total. There are times where maybe we as a council are going to have to take a vote and say, Wixom and Commerce would like to proceed to seek a grant, and we will not ask Walled Lake for a contribution at this time. If we can get the grant and we can win these awards and we can get the volunteerism that clearly is out there waiting to help, we can make this a success story. Don't worry about Traverse City, Ludington, Monroe, or other places. Go to West Bloomfield. Before you act on your resolution, invite the West Bloomfield Parks and Rec to come to your city council meeting. Do a presentation on what it costs to build, what it costs to maintain, and I'm talking picking up dog poop or litter. You're going to find, they did the presentation for Commerce the other day, it's almost non-existent. The maintenance is almost non-existent. Using the crushed limestone, which if anybody hasn't had the opportunity, go down to 14 Mile and M5 to Robert H. Long Park. The pathway, it's crushed limestone. It's like walking on cement. Sure, if it's abused, if a horse rides on it, are we gonna have to go through and rake it and maintain it? Of course we are. Those things are always going to happen unless you put in cement or asphalt or something more durable. But please understand, you don't have to leave. We're here as a team. We can make this work. And you know, what other opportunity do you have to have a green space park grow out of nothing, which, you know, there are people on the books that were ticketed for trespassing on a railroad right-of-way. It's not a railroad right-of-way, it's an abandoned piece of property that we ended up buying from a person who had the forethought to go out and buy all the railroad right-of-ways and sell them to communities like you and I. I just have to tell you, the businesses in the West Bloomfield area have made big bucks. People ride their bikes, they get off their bikes, they buy coffee, they buy sandwiches, they buy lunch, they buy snacks. They get things for their family and friends, and then they ride home. I don't have a downtown in Commerce Township that's going to benefit like you, but people are gonna come off of Decker and Welch Road, Pontiac Trail, come down the trail, they're gonna go to the restaurant that used to be Big Boys, that's still a restaurant. they're gonna go to Mr. Ambrose's facility. They're gonna go to other facilities. There's no reason to leave this council and understand, we're negotiating with Adams Outdoor Advertising to put up a second electronic billboard. That second electronic billboard will be on the right-of-way. That second electronic billboard will, a guesstimate, earn approximately $20,000 a year divided by 3, Walled Lake, Wixom, and Commerce. It's not tax dollars, it's advertising dollars. That money is going to be divided 3 ways, year after year after year, to cover putting a bollard. Bollard is the pedestal that sits in the middle of the trail so a car can't go down it. Doing maintenance, picking up litter, trimming grass, or doing whatever has to be done to bring it to a level that you want. Huron Valley Hospital has reached out to me. They want to pay for things. They want to be a partner. They're part of this community, and I know other organizations are also. The signs are in my office waiting to be put up. The stop, the no motorized vehicles, the traffic does not stop at this crosswalk. You know, so we can move someone from Pontiac Trail at the trailway down to a light to cross where it's safe and appropriate. Those signs are bought, we have them. I'm waiting to give them to Wixom. Wixom with the Trailway Council, you know, we've asked them as a council, if you will, to uniformly go out and put up all the signs on behalf of the Trailway Council, and we'll pay that appropriate rate to have the signs put up through the council, not through Commerce, not through Wixom, not through Walled Lake, but as a group. It can be done. The billboard is a big one. The money's there. You're being premature if you leave in advance. The decisions by the Trailway Council have to be unanimous. You don't have to leave, and staying won't necessarily be a cost definitive problem. The depot staging area, you know, I think the one gentleman, you can't say it better. Men have left and women to go protect our country, to fight wars, and their bodies have come back on that train. We owe it to the history of this community. You know, people have to understand, not all history happened on a battlefield in the Virginias. One of the most important speeches of the Civil War, to try and, you know, keep up with Miss Leonard, didn't happen in Virginia. It happened on Commerce Road in 1879, when General Sherman gave a speech which has been quoted in books and movies and plays. War is hell. Didn't happen in Virginia. It happened on Commerce Road at the Michigan Military Academy. And most people have no clue that the Michigan Military Academy was and is still a historic site in Oakland County on Commerce Road. It's Orchard Lake St. Mary's. Embrace it, connect it, ride your bike to it, because you know the path goes right past it. You can get on a bike, you can get on your feet, you can go for a walk, and you can go there and go to the historic museum that's on the site of the school and the cemetery. The community input, if you haven't reached out, and honestly, we've only owned this thing since February, so you and I have not had a chance to go bump shoulders with the neighboring businesses and say, come on board, help us make this happen. The depot is going to be an absolute centerpiece for this. There are very few staging places available. You know, West Bloomfield has a little 6-car parking lot at Haggerty and you know, the Trailway. Commerce Township has an opportunity to put a rather large staging area at the dead end of Crum Road, if we can work it out with MDOT and the property that's available right there, where essentially the M5 trail comes up along M5, out of Novi, out of 275, and connects to the airline trail. We'll be blessed to have a parking lot that would be 1/3 as nice as yours. This is a destination. It's not Traverse City, it's Walled Lake. People will come here, people will spend money. It's a long-term agreement. Don't walk away just because now we're owners of the property. Understand as a team, we can make this work. We can work through agreements, and there's going to be times where we're going to agree to disagree. I'll share in advance. Before I arrived on the scene, the Michigan Department of Transportation and the Department of Natural Resources agreed they're putting a pedestrian bridge as their part over M5. It would have been fine. My predecessors, 7 board members with only 2 citizens in a room, agreed to spend an additional $500,000 to make it a pretty bridge. We only had 2 people in the room, and I was one of them, and I was against it, and they still spent $500,000 to make it pretty. That's a lot of lipstick on a pig. So understand, even in the hardest of times, we can make this work. We can remain a team. We don't always have to agree. All decisions have to be unanimous. So we're not going to spend your money erroneously. Wixom can't bully you. Commerce can't bully you. It can't happen. It's in the writing. But the guarantees, if you choose to withdraw, you own what you own. You'll not get the revenue that comes from the billboard. It's in commerce. It'll be ours. We'll have to use it. We will use it. Stay on board. Reap the benefits. You know, it's early spring. The blossoms haven't come out. The fruit hasn't grown on the tree. We're going to be able to pick wonderful results with a little bit of time. Please, 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 please think ahead. Things are going to happen here come December of 17. We all know. The public don't. The Michigan Marijuana Medical Act has changed. All the little tiny job shops in the city of Troy and in Commerce Township alike that used to support the automotive industry are marijuana grow operations. Troy has 60 of them. I inherited 44. You had 3 dispensaries. I'll admit, I sicked the Oakland County Sheriff's Department on Walled Lake's dispensaries. They're operating illegally. They got a cease and desist. All parties were notified, and they stopped. They're not committing a crime. They're not selling illegally in violation of law. December 15, 2017, that law changes. There's going to be a new set of rules. I have no doubt those dispensaries will reopen. Those are partners and people who will spend money in your community to help you with your trail. I'll guarantee it. If people in Commerce Township think that we're going to turn a blind eye on 44 businesses operating in 44 job shops, they're foolish. Empty buildings cause nothing to grow. Times are changing. We have to adapt with it. Please, please stay a partner. Don't walk away. Don't be premature. Keep an open mind. The money's there. The growth is there. And the partnerships are just waiting to sign and jump on board. So thank you for your time, and thank you for being good neighbors.